how's everyone doing? It's Anth Bricks. So today I have a new Senate video for you, and this is going to be my breakdown of the Montana Senate race. So let's get into it. The incumbent U.S. Senator is Steve Daines. He's the incumbent Republican. He was first elected back in 2014. And before that, he served as Montana's sole House of Representative rep from 2013 until he was elected in 2014. The Democratic challenger is Steve Bullock. He is the incumbent current U.S. Governor of Montana. He's been governor since 2012. He is term limited in 2020, so he can't run again. He ran for president in 2020 and lost in the primary, and he's the Democrats' likely Senate nominee for Montana. So this is the 2014 Senate race where Steve Daines won. He beat a Democratic challenger, Amanda Curtis. The incumbent Democratic senator retired, so this was an open primary for the Democrats as well. And there was some complications going on the Democratic side where their party nominee stepped down or whatever because he got accused of plagiarism or something, and they chose Amanda Curtis to fill the spot. And Steve Daines won this election. He won it by a pretty big margin. He was probably going to win anyway, but the fact that it was this candidate who not many people knew about, Steve Daines was going to win by a big margin. He won by 17 points, 18 points, 57.8 to 40.1. This is Steve Bullock's most recent race back in 2016 when he got reelected. Steve Bullock beat Greg Gianforte, who I believe he's running for governor again in 2020. I think Greg Gianforte is running. Closer race than the Senate race. He won 50.3 to 46.4. This is very impressive for Steve Bullock considering he was on the ballot at the same time as President Trump. And Steve Bullock, a Democrat, won while President Trump won big at the presidential level. So this is a very big one for Steve Bullock. He won some rural areas. He won, I believe it's, how do you say it, Molasso City. He won that county as well. And he did good in Helena. He drove up margins in the cities as well as he did win some rural suburban areas as well. Steve Daines' approval rating currently sits at 47% approved to 31% disapprove. Steve Bullock's approval rating stands at 53% approved to 31% disapprove as well. So both very popular. The election polling, not many polls have been done. What we do have, however, is Steve Daines trailing to Steve Bullock 46 to 48 in the public policy Democratic skewed poll. Steve Daines trails to Steve Bullock 46-49 in the Progress Campaign Democratic skewed poll. And I believe the Montana State, I think it's, Bozeman poll, I think it was, is Steve Daines is down 39 to 46. So many of the polls that have been done, there haven't been many, but most of them have been Democratic skewed. And the Montana State poll had a very small sample, so it's essentially we haven't had really any valuable polls that actually show the race. I think all it really tells us right now is Steve Bullock's up by 4 in the polling average, but it just tells us it's a very close race at this time. Some endorsements for Steve Daines. He's only got 2. He's got President Trump and President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., both endorsed him. Steve Bullock's got some senators. He's got Kirsten Gillibrand, Richard Blumenthal, Amy Klobuchar, Chris Murphy, John Tester, and Brian Schatz. He also has Jon Ossoff, but I feel like that's a name that not a ton of people know, but a lot of people do, though. My personal assessment of this race is I think this race is very close, and by Election Day, it will end up being a toss-up that could go either way. Steve Daines being the incumbent senator would give him an advantage. However, Steve Bullock being the incumbent governor, especially during what's going on right now, they kind of cancel each other out over who has the more incumbency advantage. Both are highly approved of and low disapproved of. Both of their approval numbers are either at Steve Bullock at 50% or nearing 50% for Steve Daines. Montana is going to vote for Trump at the presidential level. It's not going to be close. He's going to win by a big margin. However, Democrats have won statewide while President Trump was on the ballot. That's what Steve Bullock did back in 2016. So that can certainly happen again. And I think if I'm going to compare this to 2018, I think this race is going to be more like Rick Scott versus Bill Nelson, where the retiring governor going up against the incumbent senator versus Marsha Blackburn, who is the GOP challenger to Phil Bredesen, who was a former governor. I think in terms of closeness, this is going to be like Rick Scott versus Bill Nelson, where I think it's going to be decided between 1 to 2 points or under that margin. I don't think it's going to end up being a blowout like Blackburn versus Bredesen was. So my prediction for how I see this race going, I do see Steve Daines winning at the end of the day. And I'm not going to lie, this took me a few minutes to think about. I really wasn't sure if Steve Daines would win or Steve Bullock would win. That kind of, I think, shows you how close this race is really going to be. And I ended up saying that Steve Daines wins 49.1%. Steve Bullock narrowly loses by 0.4, 48.7%. It's such a close race that I honestly think like a Libertarian, a Green Party, third party candidates may end up giving this race to Steve Daines narrowly. It's just such a close margin, and it's really hard to predict at this time. So that's how we see the Montana Senate race going. Thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around this far, please remember to like the video and subscribe so you always get notified when I post a new video. Make sure you tap the bell icon so you always get notified when I post a new video all the time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.